Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. So I'm back for another Have Your Say video.
What have I done to deserve this?
And this is for Drag Race All-Stars 11 episodes 1 and 2. So today we're going to be going through both episodes and recapping what happened, going through the results of the Have Your Say poll where you voted on if you agreed with the outcome of those episodes, and a little bit of backstage tea to do with a secret verse that another queen wrote for Morphine and why she regrets not using it. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. Okay, so we're back for the Have Your Say series for All Stars 11. I have previously done a video for the Meet the Queens, and if you haven't watched it already, then why the heck not? There will be a pop quiz, so go and watch it right now. Yeah, I'll wait for you. Go. So there's a lot to get through, so we're going to go through episode 1 to start with. Although I did kind of go through the queens in the Meet the Queens, I will quickly go through who is in this bracket. So this is bracket 1, which is the orange group, and that consists of Morphine Love Dion from season 16, Lucky Stars from season 17, Mystique Summers from season 2, Morgan McMichaels also from season 2, Dawn from season 16, and Akira C. Davenport from seasons 11 and All Stars 6. I think this is a really interesting bracket. It's quite a different mix of queens. I think there's going to be definitely a storyline of the OG older queens versus the younger queens, because you have some queens from season 16 and 17 versus queens from season 2 that was 15 years ago kind of thing. So I think that's definitely going to be a big storyline in this particular bracket. Okay, so there's a lot to get through, so we'll dive straight into episode 1. The main challenge was a girl group where they have to write their own verse, and it was called Break Dancin 2 Electric Rugaloo. Also, I did look this up because I know they talk about this a lot with this like electric boogaloo thing, and they made a lot of jokes about it on Drag Race. So I looked it up because I didn't really know what it was about. I knew it was a joke, but not necessarily what it was from. For those of you who are interested, there was a movie in the 80s called Break 2 Electric Boogaloo, and it was the sequel to a movie that came before called Breakin'. And since that came out, I think because maybe it wasn't that well received or whatever, the phrase electric boogaloo is kind of become a joke for when there's a sequel that's basically not very good. So it's used in a kind of joking, mocking way. So anytime you hear it, that's kind of what the reference is to. So obviously we get the thing of the queens recording their verses and doing the choreo. And I personally liked it that during especially the choreo session, there was certainly some queens bumping heads, and it was mainly Morphine and Morgan. And I quite like it that you have queens that aren't afraid to have a little bit of drama and stuff, because if they all just sing Kumbaya, it's kind of boring, but maybe I'm just messy. Okay, so let's go through the performances for Break Dancing 2 Electric Rugaloo. Okay, so the first queen up was Akira. I thought Akira's was fine. It had some sort of fun references. I do think it could have been a bit punchier though. I don't remember it really when I think back on it, so I probably would give it a just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, you said 58% for just okay, 34.3% for yay, and 7.7 for nay. After that, we have Dawn. I really liked Dawn's. Call me a granny, because I am one. But I really like when queens actually enunciate, because I could really hear what she was saying, because she punched every single word. She wasn't trying to go too fast that you then sort of end up with just a mush mouth of words. Maybe it's just me, but sometimes I can't hear what they're saying and I sound like a granny yelling at the TV. I thought the lyrics were fun. They were very on point. I definitely would give her a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, just a smidgen of you, 90.8% voted for yay, then 8.4% for just okay, and then a measly 0.9% voted for nay. Next up was Lucky Stars. I thought Lucky's was fine, kind of similar to Akira's in a way that it was fine but not that memorable to me. I thought she looked kind of cool, and I liked some of like the wobbly legs thing that she was doing in front of the camera. I thought that was quite funny, but other than that, I don't remember much about her lyrics or the verse in general, so it's probably a just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, again, I think you agreed with me. I think we've established by now that I'm always right.
Really, queen?
But you gave 56.5% for just okay, 29% for yay, but then 14.5% for nay, so still a pretty decent amount for nay. After that was Morgan McMichaels. I loved Morgan's. I thought the bit at the beginning when she flipped off the box was great. That was a great way to do the entrance too, because you need something that's really going to capture the attention. Also, this is just me being a Drag Race crazy fan, but this outfit that she's wearing with the yellow and the pink and everything, this looks exactly like the theme for season 15, and a lot of the queens were wearing almost this exact outfit, so that's just all my mind could think of at the time. But anyway, I really liked Morgan's verse. Again, I thought it was very clear, she was funny, she had really interesting lyrics, she commanded the stage with her performance, so definitely a yay. Then in the Have Your Say for Morgan, we have 79.3% for yay, which I agree with, although I actually think it should have been more than that personally. Then 19.6 for just okay. I again think this is too much. I thought she was definitely in the yay side. And then 1.1 for nay. Next up, we had Morphine Love Dion. I liked Morphine's lyrics. I will say, I thought her performance was really good, but I don't think the actual verse was maybe quite as strong as I thought it was going to be, given that Morphine's got a great sort of vibe and everything, and I think she could have really sold this. I don't think that she looked necessarily like Snow White, which is what I think Michelle said. I did think the outfit was a slightly odd choice for Morphine, though. But yeah, in general, I thought she could have pushed it harder, which was my nickname in Prism.
Slut.
But I did think that it was fine, but maybe not as good as I thought she could have got. So I'd give it a just okay towards a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, you actually gave it 69% for yay. So actually pretty decent amount. Maybe I was just being harsh. Then it was just okay with 26.8%. So yeah, I probably would have put it towards the yay just okay side. And then 4.2 for nay. And then finally we have Mystique Summers. First of all, I did think it was slightly odd that she was wearing black, whereas everyone else was wearing kind of neon. If you've watched my Scorpios recap for this week, and if you haven't, then go slap yourself and go and watch it. But Morgan was the guest this week, and she actually spilled quite a lot of tea and called out Dawn, which you can go and watch the video if you don't know why. But she did actually reveal that she had a Missy Elliott illusion, sort of pink, sparkly, bedazzled number that she was going to wear. But apparently it had the Adidas, or Adidas, as I think the Americans would say. It is pronounced Adidas, by the way. I think because it had the logo on it, she couldn't wear it, so that's why she's wearing this. In terms of her verse, unfortunately, I just don't think it was that good. It felt very low energy to me, and I feel like she could have really performed this. She could have put in a lot more of her isms, and she's such a big character and a big personality, but that didn't come through in this, unfortunately. So I would have to give it probably going towards a nay, maybe a just okay. And in the Have Your Say poll, I think you agreed mostly. 63.5% of you voted for nay, so nay actually came out on top. Then it was 32.3% in just okay, and then only 4.2 for yay. So I asked you who's that's way I do a verse.
What the f*** is going on in here on this day?
Anyway, I asked you who gets the sleigh for the electric Rugaloo verse, and you voted 53.6% for Dawn, 26.8% for Morgan, and then in third place was Morphine with 13.8%. I definitely would agree. I'd give it to Dawn. I thought, again, me being Granny, I loved the fact that she spoke loudly and clearly, but her lyrics were good, the performance was good, the attitude was great, the outfit was great. So yeah, she was great. She gets the sleigh. Okay, so let's move on to the runways for this week. And the category was Toyas R Us. So a look inspired by LaToya Jackson, who was the guest judge this week. So we'll start with Akira C. Davenport, and she was doing a runway inspired by LaToya Jackson, 1988 in Atlantic City. I thought this was an amazing outfit. I mean, Akira always serves it on the runway, but I could definitely see the inspiration, but it was definitely kind of dragified a little bit. I mean, the original look was already drag enough, but she made it even more drag. The ridiculous bow size, the hair, everything. Love it. This is definitely a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, 76.3% of you said yay, so over 3/4. Again, I thought it'd be more than that. 21.8% for just okay, and then 2% for nay. Next, we have Dawn doing LaToya Jackson, Moulin Rouge in orange. By the way, a lot of these are from the Moulin Rouge. I think it's because they have to pick things that are from Getty Images, because basically you can get them for cheap, whereas from things like music videos, it's really expensive. So that's why so many of them come from these events. This is immaculate, this look. I love it so much. The orange is amazing. The way it complements the original look is great. I love the elf ears, and that's very much her style kind of coming into it, so she made it her own. All of the details are on point, and this is drag. This is a drag look, so definitely this gets a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, 97.4% of you voted for yes, so I think you liked it. Then 2% for just okay, and then only 0.7% for nay. I want to know who that 0.7% is because I have questions. After that is Lucky Stars doing Latoya in Moulin Rouge in purple. I don't think this is necessarily as purple as it could have been, first of all. I mean, it is purplish, but I think the actual original look is more purple than this one. I don't think this is necessarily the most amazing recreation. As Latoya said herself, the foxtails, that's what they call, foxtails, they kind of are a big part of the outfit. I don't think that Lucky's had enough. Mystique did actually say at Scorpios this week, if you haven't watched it again, go slap yourself, then watch it. But I think she said that these foxtails actually belong to Morgan and Lucky borrowed them and then spray painted them without asking permission. Don't know if that's true, but that's what she said. But in general, yeah, I think it wasn't necessarily my favorite look, so probably would have to be a just okay bordering to an A. In the Have Your Say poll, you said 46.4% for just okay, so just okay came out on top, but only just. Then 45.7% for nay, so almost an exact amount, and then 7.9% for yay. Then we have Morgan McMichaels as Latoya Jackson in the Moulin Rouge in red. I love this outfit so much, love the hat. I mean, I love a sparkly bedazzled hat with just a feather on it. I mean, who doesn't love that? I think the outfit is great. It's a really good recreation of the original, but dragified and sort of made her own. Love it. The details are on point. Definitely a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, again, I'm slightly surprised this wasn't more, but 76.5% said yay, so just over 3/4. I thought it should be more. 21.1% for just okay, and then 2.4% for nay. Then penultimately, we have Morphine Love Dion as Latoya Jackson at the Moulin Rouge in white. I love this outfit so much. Again, I know I keep saying this, but this is such a showgirl. This is what looks more like a kind of like a Vegas number. That is exactly what I think of. This should be someone walking around in a casino trying to sell like drink tickets, but in a fabulous way. Fabulous drink tickets. I love this so much. This is definitely showgirls. I love it. It's giving white. It's giving the original look. Drag excellence, definitely a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, again, I thought it'd be more. 75.8% for yay, so still respectable, but I thought it'd be a lot more than that. 20.9% of you said just okay. I don't know what you're looking at. And then a weird 3.3% said nay. And then finally, we have Mystique Summers as Latoya Jackson at the Moulin Rouge in blue. First of all, I will say this outfit is not blue, so I don't know, maybe she had to change last minute because Lucky had the purple one, I'm assuming, I don't really know. In terms of the outfit itself, regardless of the colour, unfortunately it's just not my favourite. I just think there's something slightly unflattering about the length of it, because especially in motion it was okay, but when she was stood still, when they had the judges' critiques, the way it kind of hit her at this weird, awkward, kind of halfway up, just made her legs look teeny tiny. And she's got great legs, she should show them off, but I don't think this outfit is doing it for her, so unfortunately this would probably be an A. In the Have Your Say poll, I think you agreed. 75.8% of you said nay, 21.8% said just okay, and then 2.4% for yay. So I asked you, whose Latoya Jackson themed runway gets a slay, and you voted Dawn with 68.6%, then the others were kind of split, but it was Morgan in second place with 13.4%, and then Akira with 10.3%. I think I would have to agree, I did love Dawn's. It was just so amazing and Vegas showgirl, but orange and elfy, and it was just a weird mix of everything, but immaculately done. This was a very tough one to judge because I think there were lots of contenders for it, but I would have to give it to Dawn. Okay, so as per the new All-Stars rules, what's going to happen is the top queens of the week get 2 points each, and then they do a lip sync, and the winner of that lip sync gets an extra point. And then the bottom 4 queens, I guess you call them, the queens that are not in the top, they get an NVQ point each, which stands for Most Valuable Queen, and then they have to give that 1 point to another queen. They can't keep it for themselves. So we find out the top 2 for this week are Dawn and Morgan. In the Have Your Say poll, I said, do you agree with the top 2? You said 64.6% for yes and 35.4% for no. So of that over a third of you who did say no, I said, who do you think should have been in the top instead? And by far, Morphine Love Dion came out on top, and then it was Dawn. So that third of you would have replaced Morgan with Morphine. Although I think that Morphine was good, Morgan definitely, I think, had the better performance, and I really loved her runway as well. So I personally did agree with the top 2, and Dawn definitely deserved the top 2. So Dawn and Morphine lip sync to, surprise, surprise, a Latoya Jackson song, which is Such a Wicked Love. And we find out Morgan wins the lip sync and therefore the extra point and kind of wins the episode. I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, who do you think won the lip sync? And it was a landslide, 91.6% for Morgan and 8.4% for Dawn. Okay, so let's now move on to episode 2. So the queens come in and the bottom 4 queens have to give the NVQ point to one another. Now, I don't think they explicitly say this, but I guess technically you can give it even to the top 2. It doesn't have to be one of the bottom 4. But the bottom 4 queens basically do what is probably the logical choice, and they give each other a point. So basically all of them get 1 point. So we find out that the Maxia challenge this week is a design challenge, my favorite.
Cause you hate everything?
And they have to design a couture outfit using materials inspired by gay bars. And they basically choose it by the queen who won last week gets to choose first, and then they kind of go down the line. The rest of the episode was pretty much just them obviously making their outfits. I did quite like there was definitely some shade being thrown around about who gave who points, because Morphine thought that Lucky was going to give her a point, but Lucky actually gave it to Mystique instead, because Mystique was nice to her. And I think Morphine is just making really good TV and just being funny. Okay, so let's go through the runways and we'll go through in order in which they appeared. First up, we had Dawn, and she was doing the piano bar. This is an amazing outfit. I was genuinely gagged when I saw this. I love the huge headpiece. I thought it was so funny that RuPaul made a reference to Joella with the mattress look and her face poking out. Kind of shady, but also iconic. Joella was iconic for that. But I was like, do we think RuPaul remembered that, or do we think one of the producers told him? Because I feel like RuPaul can barely remember her own name, let alone something from 2 seasons ago at this point. Anyway, going back to Dawn, love this outfit. The color's great, the fit is great. It's incredible that she did this amount of work in such a short amount of time. Because of the cane, she kind of looks like a very pimped up pimp, like the pimp I would want if I was wanting a pimp. So I definitely would give this a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, I think you agree. 90.3% for yay, 8.1% for just okay, and then 1.1 for nay. After that, we have Akira C. Davenport, who was doing the white party bar. I mean, what is the point of the other girls even coming on the stage at this point? I thought it was so funny that Akira was like, oh, put down your expectations because I'm not sure I'm that great at doing this, that, and the other. This is like those people that say, oh yeah, come to my home, and you walk in, they say, oh, sorry about the mess, and there's literally like a crumb of dust somewhere, and they go, oh, it's a pigsty. The fact that she was like, oh, don't have too high expectations, and then she came out with this is absolutely incredible. I mean, the execution, I don't even know where to look. The execution's amazing. I love the fact that she's just holding a disco ball as a purse for no reason. The hairpiece thing is amazing. I love the appliques that almost came off like they were feathers or something, the way she must have laid that. God knows how she did that, but this is definitely a yay. And in the Have Your Say poll, again, perhaps no surprises, 95.4% of you voted for yes, because how could you vote for anything else? Then a crazy 3.7 said just okay. Again, I want names and numbers of the people who did, so write that in the comments because I will come find you. And then there is some nays apparently, but it's such a small amount. All I can see is a slither of red. Next up was Mystique Summers with the Country Western Bar. For someone who doesn't sew, because she said that she doesn't sew and she always gets people to do it for her and stuff, I think this is actually not bad, I will say. Compared to the previous 2, I feel a bit bad because they were obviously amazing and far above the average level. So then having this obviously doesn't look quite as good in comparison. Again, there's something slightly odd to me about the length of the skirt and the height of the shoes, and it makes her legs look really tiny again. I just think there's something about the proportions she's not quite got right. Other than that, though, I think it's actually a pretty decent look for someone that doesn't sew, but compared to the others, it probably would fall more towards the just okay range. In the Have Your Say poll, you were a bit more harsh, though. You said 49% for nay, then it was 44.4% for just okay, so it was pretty close between the two, and then 6.6 for yay. Then we have Morgan McMichaels with the leather bar. I think this is actually quite a nice look. I don't know if from a construction point of view it's more simple because it's just sort of trousers, as I would call them, or pants, with a kind of corset top and a cape. Maybe people who know about sewing, let me know in the comments. My PhD is in fashion, not sewing, so I don't actually know how these sorts of things are made. It is nice, but maybe compared to some of the others, I think it's not quite as elaborate, but I still like it and would give it a yay. Interestingly, in the Have Your Say poll, 48.1% of you, which was the biggest proportion, said just okay. Then it was yay with 46.8%, so it was almost 50-50. But obviously not, whatever you call that. But it was very split, let's just say that.
My God, there's
Room for everybody, let's just say that.
And then 5.1% for Yay. Then penultimately we have Morphine Love Dion doing the tropical bar. I think the outfit is nice though, but again, maybe slightly more simple compared to some of the other amazingly elaborate outfits. There's also something about the patterns that I don't think quite work as much, but it's fine, but I would give it a just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, I think you're right. It was 56.9% for just okay, I would have given that. But actually then after that, Nay came out second with 24.2%, and then it was Yay with 18.9%. So maybe you disliked it more than I did. And then finally we have Lucky Stars with the kitschy bar. This outfit was like, whoa, this is a lot. I need to take like what is it? What's that thing you take to kind of calm down?
Penis!
Anyway, whatever it is, Advil? No, not Advil. What's that American thing that you say? Anyway, I don't know what that drug is. I need to take something to be able to just look at all of this because it was like, whoa. I think it's cool and there is a lot of interesting construction elements. I personally felt like it was just a tiny bit messy, but that is, I think because there's so much, that's definitely Lucky's aesthetic. Not messy, but it's very extravagant, over the top, very quirky and kooky. I think to me, there was maybe just too many of these like tinsely, streamy bits. I think there was just something that didn't quite work, the cohesion of it, but it was fine. I would give it a just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, maybe I'm just a mean bitch. I mean, probably.
You are a mean girl! You're a bitch!
Because you voted 53.2% for Yay, which was the majority, then 31.9% for Just Okay, and then 14.9% for Nay. So I asked you whose self-made outfit gets a slay, and you voted Akira C. Davenport with 51.2%, then it was Dawn with 38.7%, and then the rest of the votes were quite small, but then in third place it was Lucky Stars with 6.8%. To me, it has to go to Akira. The fact that not only did she kind of say, oh, don't get your expectations up, and then came and delivered this, but also this is incredible. The amount of work and artistry and mastership of the sewing machine that this would take is incredible. She definitely gets the slay. So we find out the top two this week are Dawn and Akira. I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, do you agree with the top two? You said 83.1% for yes and 16.9% for no. And then for that small percentage of you that said no, I said, who do you think should have been the top two instead? And you voted Lucky Stars and Akira. So you would have swapped Dawn with Lucky Stars. I don't agree with that personally. I think the right two did win. I think Akira had the best outfit by far and Dawn was a very close second. Between the two, I couldn't really judge. They definitely deserved the top two. So Akira and Dawn lip synced the song Fergalicious by Fergie. I mean, I had such flashbacks from the 2000s when I was in school. Me, as a little gay boy, loved this little track. Anyway, so I loved this song, was definitely living my life. And we find out that Akira is the winner of the lip sync and therefore wins the extra point. I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, who do you think won the lip sync in your opinion? Again, it was pretty much a landslide, 86.2% for Akira and then 13.8% for Dawn. Moving on to the last two questions, I said question 11, who do you think will be the top two of this bracket and go through to the semi-finals? Because only two go through this time. You voted Dawn and Akira, with Morgan coming in third, but still quite a bit behind the other two. Then for question 12, I said, who do you want to be the top two? This is quite interesting because it did switch, actually. So Dawn still by far came out on top, and also Akira. But then between Morgan and Morphine, it was actually a lot more split. So that was quite interesting. So it sounds like you want and think that Akira and Dawn will go through, but maybe a few more of you are split on whether you want Morgan or Morphine to go through. Okay, so moving on, we have a little special poll. No, we're not going to make jokes about my special poll. But I put up a special poll for my Patreon members, but also my YouTube members. Patreon is still my main platform where you get the majority of the benefits, but I know some of you don't want to go off platform. So I have started YouTube memberships and you get some of the benefits, and you also get to have things like voting on this, having your comments featured. You can click the join button underneath any of my videos and it's very quick and easy. So you don't even have to leave the platform. So anyway, I put up a poll about the MVQ points and I said, which queen would you give your MVQ points to after episode 1? My Patrons actually voted 64% for Akira and 27% for Morphine, whereas my YouTube members actually did it the other way around. They voted Morphine with 75% and then Akira with 25%. And then for episode 2, I asked the same question, who would you give your MVQ point to? And on Patreon, they voted for Morgan with 45% and Lucky Stars with 36%. So that was quite interesting. And then my YouTube members, interestingly, voted Morgan with 80% and then Mystique Summers with 20%. So let me know in the comments what you think. Who would you give your MVQ points to and why? But also check out my Patreon or my YouTube membership and you can also vote. Okay, so let's move on to the comments for this week. I'm going to go through them quite quickly because there are a lot to get through. Starting with my Patreon comments, there were quite a lot of comments about Morgan McMichael's slaying. So my Patreon Aaron said, so proud of Morgan because she's slaying. My Patreon Linda said, living in LA, I've seen Morgan before many times and she's Entertainer of the Year. I can see why. 100% agree. I love Morgan. My Patreon Nikki said, excited for this bracket because Morgan, Dawn and Akira are some of my favorite all-time queens. My Patreon Deb said something I agree with. Dawn is the right type of shady for me. She's a little villainous, but not in a way that makes me hate her. A bit like me. People have called me a little villainous before, or maybe a lot villainous. And my Patreon MJ said something kind of similar, that the season is already fun. I like that the queens aren't afraid to be confrontational, which is a nice change after season 18. I think definitely Morphine and Dawn are kind of leading the pack on that. So bring on the shade, please. Moving on to my YouTube members who also get priority to have their comments read out. So my YouTube member, Cindy Gonzalez, said, again, some similar comment to before, Morgan McMichaels is really coming back to slay this season. Truly believe she deserves to take the crown. I agree. It's so nice to see her back after the kind of bad experience she had on All Stars 3. And then my other YouTube member, Yuri Mori, said, the judges don't know what they're talking about. Morphine's verse, so this is for episode 1, was my favorite. My top 2 would have been Morphine and Dawn, but I do understand why they picked Morgan. I don't personally agree, Yuri Mori, but you do you, babes. And moving on to the comments from the Have Your Say poll, one of the things that came up a lot was things like, loved both episodes, but wish they didn't upload them on the same day. What do you mean next week is the last time we see this bracket already? It felt like 1 episode instead of 2, and I hate it. And I kind of agree. I can see why they do a double premiere, but it does feel a bit mean because it does feel like you only really get 2 weeks if you're in the first bracket. The queens complained about this last season. I don't think the queens this season have because they probably knew, but it does feel slightly unfair. There were a lot of comments about Dawn saying, Dawn is my girl. I'm thrilled to see her shine. Obsessed. I agree. I think Dawn was amazing on her original season, but she is dominating so far, so I love to see it. And also a lot of comments about, I'm so sad only 2 of the queens will continue on to the semi-finals because last season it was 3. I think maybe it was because 3 from the 3 brackets, so 9 in total. Yes, I can do maths.
I didn't go to school for math.
I think that maybe was just too many, so maybe that's why they're doing it, but it does definitely feel like it's quite limiting. And then someone actually said something really funny and they said June 12th. And this is because when RuPaul announced come see my movie, Stop That Train, you could hear that Ru clearly after in post-production went like June 12th. And it sounds really weird.
Stop that train. In theaters, June 12th.
And all over social media, people kept saying June 12th, because it was just like, it sounded so bad. I did actually do a whole video about editing mistakes on Drag Race, which I'll link to in the screen somewhere or in the comments. And there were quite a lot of these types of weird splicing togethering things that were clearly filmed afterwards and then put in. So if you do like this sort of thing, go and check out that video. But let me know what you think in the comments about the double premiere. Do you think it's fair to have a double premiere because it sort of has a big splash? Or do you think it's unfair because the queens in the first bracket technically only get 2 weeks? And finally, we're going to move on to a bit of backstage tea to do with this week's episode involving Morphine Love Dion and should she regret not using Megami's verse. So, as many of you may remember, on season 16, Megami's girl group team won that challenge, and Megami revealed that she not only wrote her own verse, but also Nymphia Wynn's verse. And because it was a group win, that meant Megami had technically written 2 winning verses. Then, during All Stars 10, after the Rappin' Roast episode aired and Georges won the challenge, Megami tweeted saying, "Can I be Dawnedest, spill some hot tea? So I did happen to assist Georges with writing this verse before filming. But I told her I didn't want money, I just wanted her to effing win, and she did it. I'm so proud to have helped assist, #Team Georges." And for those keeping track, that's now 3 verses I wrote that won. There were also some replies and comments at the time though, saying things like, you didn't want to let Georges at least enjoy a couple days with this win before you dropped this info, lol. Now it's all people are talking about on their review shows. However, Megami did later clarify that this was not her intention and she was not taking credit for anyone's work. And it looks like Megami has now continued her winning streak of writing winning verses with All Stars 11. Recently on the Press Conference podcast, which I'll link to in the description, they were reviewing the episode and Megami was the guest. She revealed that she not only wrote Dawn's verse, but she also wrote a verse for Morphine as well, but Morphine didn't use it.
And I know it intimately because I wrote this verse.
I knew it. Next we have Morphine. What do we think?
Morphine. Now, so here's my thing about Morphine is I also wrote a verse for Morphine and she didn't use it. And when she came back and was like, girl, it didn't work out. I didn't use your thing. I wasn't in the top. And I was like, exactly.
Yeah.
This is what you get. You know, the universe had my back. You wanted to be smart. But no, like it's also a great verse.
So it seems like Megami was jokingly saying that Morphine regrets not using her verse because Morphine was not in the top this week, and if she had used Megami's verse, maybe she would have been in the top. But because Dawn was in the top, that does mean Megami has now written 4 winning verses. But this news about Megami writing Dawn and Morphine's verses quickly spread online, and again there was a little bit of chatter online, with some people saying that this was Megami taking the spotlight away again from Dawn and Morphine. However, Megami addressed this by reposting a post from another account where they had said that Megami wrote their verses, and Megami said, "Okay, I know it's not as spicy a headline, but this was actually totally collaborative. Dawn fully came up with all her own jokes and one-liners. I only helped her make it rhyme. Also, go actually watch the full podcast because I do say that in the episode." I also saw that Megami retweeted another post on Twitter talking about this and said, "Okay, before y'all get too crazy with the discourse, Dawn fully wrote her own jokes and one-liners. I just helped her make it rhyme. Dawn put in the work herself." Dawn then replied to Megami saying, "Thank you for saying this, and also thank you for the help you gave me. Truly couldn't have done it without you, Queen of the Girl Group verse." And I just thought this was some interesting backstage tea, that Megami has now written 4 winning verses on Drag Race, but she has also been clear that she is not taking credit away from anyone and always gives the queens their flowers. So please just bear that in mind whenever you get involved in this kind of discourse online, and it goes without saying, but please do not be hateful to the queens. So there you go, there was the Have Your Say for All Stars 11 episodes 1 and 2. Let me know what you thought about the premiere of All Stars 11, and how does it shape up to the premiere of All Stars 10? If you'd like to have your comment featured or vote in the polls, but also get things like exclusive content that I don't post publicly on YouTube, you can join either my Patreon, which is my main platform, or you can also join on YouTube memberships. It's easy, you can just press the join button, but if not, you can also go to Patreon, and the link for that will definitely be in the description. I'd also like to say thank you so much to my amazing Patreon members. You are all absolute legends. Thank you so much for your continued support. You are all absolutely incredible, and I thank you every single day. Please make sure you like and comment on this video to help boost it in the algorithm and promote it to more people. And please make sure you smash that subscribe button because I really would love to try and boost my numbers, and I can only do that with your help. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll join me in the future for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets, and of course, drama. Thank you so much. Bye.